Listen to me, baby. You can't become who you're meant to be if you're still holding hands with who you used to be. There's a weak version of you that's full of excuses, fear, insecurity, laziness, and doubt. That version, it's gotta go. That version is standing in the way of your breakthrough, your success, your peace, your legacy. You've been negotiating with weakness for too long. It's time to kill it. It's time to bury that version and introduce the world to the stronger you, the one who walks with purpose, talks with fire, and moves like they belong on the mountaintop. The weak version makes excuses, the strong version makes progress. There comes a moment in every life when you've got to look in the mirror and be brutally honest with yourself. Not the kind of honesty you give other people, not the sugar-coated truth that feels good, but the kind that stings because it's real. That weak version of you, that part of you that keeps making excuses. It's robbing you. It's robbing you of your time, your future, your purpose, and your power. Excuses are easy. They're always available. They're always convenient. But here's the catch. They always cost you something. That weak version of you is a master of excuses. I don't have time. I'm not ready yet. What if I fail? Sound familiar? That's the language of the lazy, the scared, the unsure. That's the anthem of someone who's not willing to grow. And baby, you can't grow if you keep feeding your excuses. Progress doesn't show up in the life of someone making excuses. It doesn't knock on the door of the comfortable. Progress lives in the house of pain, sacrifice, effort, and risk. The strong version of you, that one doesn't play with excuses. That version wakes up and gets it done even when it hurts, even when it's hard, even when no one's clapping. You want change. Kill the excuses. The weak version of you looks for reasons why it won't work. The strong version finds one reason why it must, and that's all it takes. One good reason, one fire in your belly, one hunger in your soul. You don't need perfect conditions. You need perfect commitment. The weak version of you is addicted to motivation, but the strong version thrives on discipline. Motivation fades, excuses grow, but discipline. That's what builds empires. You've been letting the weak you sit in the driver's seat for far too long. No wonder you feel stuck. No wonder you feel tired. No wonder you're frustrated. You're letting the softest, laziest, most doubtful part of you lead your life. That version wasn't built to run your destiny. That version was built to test your strength. And guess what? It's time to pass the test. You ever see somebody less talented than you get further? It's not because they were better. It's because they stopped making excuses. They got up, they moved, they did something. Meanwhile, you're still at the starting line, writing paragraphs about why you ain't moved yet. Ain't nobody coming to drag you to the finish line. You gotta walk it. You gotta run it. You gotta fight for it. Excuses are like anchors. They keep you in place while you scream about wanting to fly. You got wings, but you're too scared to flap them. You got vision, but you keep blinding yourself with doubt. You got potential, but you keep burying it under your own fears. You've made a habit of killing your own greatness before it even had a chance to grow. That stops now. When you kill the weak version of yourself, you also kill your excuses. That part of you that's always negotiating with your destiny, it's gotta go. You don't negotiate with greatness. You show up and you demand it. You don't ask life for permission. You take your shot and you don't apologize for missing. The strong you knows failure is part of the process. The weak you is still scared of looking stupid. You've already missed out on enough because of that weaker voice inside you. That voice that said, not now. That voice that said, maybe later. That voice that said, you're not good enough yet. You listened to that voice, and all it gave you was regret, stress, and what-ifs. Imagine what would happen if you started listening to the stronger voice instead. The one that says, go now, you got this, you were built for this. You've got to realize the weak version of you isn't your friend. It's not your protector, it's your jailer. It wants you to stay small. It wants you to be safe. It wants you to survive, not thrive. It wants you to fit in, not stand out. And every day you obey that weak version, you delay the day your real life begins. That's a high price to pay for comfort. Let's make it plain. The weak version of you can't take you to the next level. That version doesn't have what it takes to handle the weight of success. That version will fumble blessings. That version will sabotage relationships. That version will ruin opportunities. So why are you still holding on to it? Why are you still nurturing it like it's your child? It's not your child. It's your enemy. Look at your goals. Look at your dreams. Now look at your actions. Are they in alignment? Or are you just performing effort while making room for excuses in your back pocket? Because if you're still making room for excuses, you're not ready. You're still flirting with the weak you. And as long as you keep that relationship alive, your destiny stays out of reach. The strong you is already in there. That version already exists. It's not waiting to be created. It's waiting to be released, but the only way to release it is to starve the excuses, silence the fear, and bury the weak version that's been running your life. You can't serve two masters. You can't follow two versions of yourself. One of them has to die, so the other can live. The strong you has goals that keep them up at night. The strong you doesn't need the world's approval. The strong you walks in rooms and commands attention, not with ego, but with presence. But to live as that person, you have to be willing to kill the one who settles for maybe next time. That version has lied to you long enough. You've already wasted enough time sitting beside your potential, watching it cry. That weak version of you is still asking for one more chance to stay small. Don't give it another day. Don't give it another breath. Make a decision right now. Either your excuses live or your progress lives. But one of them has to die. Fear is a liar. But your destiny tells the truth. Fear will whisper things in your ear that sound logical, but are rooted in lies. It'll tell you you're not ready when you've already been prepared through every heartbreak and every struggle you survived. Fear will dress itself up in common sense and act like it's trying to protect you. But in reality, it's trying to paralyze you. See, fear doesn't need to chain your hands to stop you. All it needs to do is chain your thinking. Because once your mind is trapped, your body ain't going nowhere. Fear lies in a professional tone. It sounds like, maybe now's not the right time. It sounds like, what if it doesn't work? It even sounds like, be realistic. But you weren't built for realistic. You were built for faith, built for fire, built for more. And as long as you let fear keep talking, you'll keep sitting in rooms that are too small for your calling. You'll keep dressing your power down so you don't intimidate mediocrity. Let's call it what it is. Fear is a thief. It has stolen years from you, stolen opportunities, stolen relationships. It's kept your mouth shut when you should have spoken up. It's made you walk away when you were supposed to fight. It's made you settle when you were meant to soar. That fear didn't come from your spirit. It was planted by failure and watered by doubt. But now you've got to dig it up by its roots and burn it down. Because while fear is out here lying to you, your destiny is speaking truth. Your destiny has never changed its tone. It's been calling you since you were little. That voice inside of you, the one that keeps saying you were made for more. That's not ego. That's not fantasy. That's your future telling you the truth. That's purpose trying to break through the noise of your fear. But the problem is, you've been believing the lie louder than you've been living the truth. Your destiny ain't in a place you visit. It's in who you become. And who you become is shaped by the decisions you make when fear starts talking. You either believe the lie or you walk through it. Yes, you'll be scared. Yes, your hands will shake. But the presence of fear doesn't mean the absence of destiny. It just means you're close, close to growth, close to breakthrough, close to becoming who you were meant to be all along. Fear always shows up at the doorstep of greatness. It doesn't knock on the doors of average people because average doesn't threaten anything. But you do. Your voice threatens silence. Your vision threatens cycles. Your purpose threatens every generational curse that ever tried to stop you. That's why fear keeps showing up, because deep down it knows what you're capable of if you ever stop listening. The weak version of you believes fear. The strong version hears it, but moves anyway. You gotta learn how to walk afraid, speak afraid, build afraid, love afraid. Because courage isn't about not feeling fear, it's about not letting fear make your decisions. That's how you kill the weak version of yourself. You starve it of fear, and you feed the strong one with truth, with movement, with forward momentum. You don't have to be fearless to be powerful. You just have to stop bowing to fear like it's your king. Fear is not royalty in your life. Your purpose is, your gifts are, your calling is, and you can't keep worshipping fear and expect to be free. You can't keep obeying it and expect to grow. The two don't go together. Either you live in truth or you live in terror, but one of them's gotta go. Fear's job is to make you forget what God already told you. It tries to erase every time you made it through, every time the odds were stacked and you still rose up. Fear blinds you from your own track record, but your destiny is trying to remind you, you were made for this. You've got evidence in your past that you can't let fear erase. You've survived too much to let a lie stop you now. That dream in your heart, it's not a fantasy, it's a future memory, something you've already been chosen to walk into. But the only way you get there is by rejecting the lie that you're not enough. That lie is old. That lie is expired, but you keep picking it back up every morning like it still fits. It don't. It never did. You've grown too much to keep shrinking for fear's comfort. Fear loves routine. It wants you to stay the same, think the same, move the same. But destiny demands growth. Destiny demands discomfort. Destiny demands that you become the kind of person who can hold what's waiting for you. And that kind of person, that version doesn't cower when fear walks in the room. That version steps forward and says, I hear you, but you don't lead me anymore. Your destiny's been waiting on you to stop asking for permission from fear, waiting on you to stop second, guessing everything, waiting on you to finally say, I may not have it all figured out, but I know one thing. I'm not staying here. Because the minute you make that decision, something in the atmosphere shifts. Doors start unlocking. People start showing up. Peace starts growing, all because you chose truth over terror. It's not that fear goes away, it's that it loses power. The same way a storm loses its strength once you walk through it. The same way a lie loses its grip once you expose it. That's what you do every time you move in the face of fear. You expose the lie. You show it that you're no longer controlled by its voice, that your actions are now dictated by your vision, not your anxiety. You got too much inside you to let fear keep winning. You got fire. You got resilience. You got purpose. You got calling. And if you ever stop long enough to listen to what your destiny has been trying to say, you'll hear something fear could never tell you. You're already ready. You're already equipped. You're already enough. Comfort zones are coffins get uncomfortable to come alive. Comfort is the sneakiest form of sabotage. It looks like peace, but it's really poison. It makes you feel safe, but slowly drains your ambition. Every time you say, I'm fine where I'm at, just know that's the same as saying, I've accepted this version of me forever. And if you're still breathing, if your heart's still beating, if your mind's still dreaming, then you weren't built to stay where you are. Comfort zones don't look like prisons. They look like routines. They look like habits. They look like familiar people and safe choices. But underneath all that, you're dying, not physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Because growth doesn't live in comfort. Growth lives in pain. Growth lives in confusion. Growth lives in the space where you feel like you're not ready. But you move anyway. You ever wonder why you feel stuck even though nothing's technically wrong? That's comfort fooling you. That's you living under your potential and getting used to the feeling. That's you sleeping next to greatness and pretending like you're just friends. You've gotten so used to average, anything beyond that feels like a threat. But it ain't a threat. It's your calling waking you up from a long nap. The truth is, your break through won't come wrapped in ease. It will come wrapped in discomfort. It will come dressed as fear, dressed as risk, dressed as change. That's why most people miss it. They're looking for blessings that don't require pressure. But pressure is the price of becoming. Diamonds don't get made in soft conditions. They get made in heat. They get made in crushing. So do you. The weak version of you wants relief. The strong version of you wants results. The weak version says, "This is good enough." But that's not the voice of truth. That's the voice of the coffin. Because every time you choose comfort, you're choosing to die a little more inside. You're choosing to let your gift sit silent. You're choosing to ignore the roar inside your soul that says, "There's more." Growth demands movement. Growth demands stretch. If it doesn't scare you a little, it's not big enough. If it doesn't push you past what's familiar, it's not worthy of your future. You got to get to the point where staying the same hurts more than changing. Where comfort becomes the enemy, where you stop asking for easy and start asking for elevation. Nothing worth having is going to feel safe at first, and that's the point. You were designed to be challenged. Your spirit was built for resistance. That's why when life gets too calm, your soul starts getting agitated. That's purpose trying to stir you out of the shallow end. That's destiny saying, "Come deeper, come higher, come further." But it won't drag you. You've got to decide to get uncomfortable. Comfort zones don't just kill dreams. They kill identities. They keep you acting like someone who was never supposed to stay small. They have you showing up like a fraction of who you really are, just to keep everyone else comfortable. But how long are you going to shrink yourself to fit into a life you don't even want anymore? You weren't meant to be regular. You were meant to disrupt something. If you want to come alive, you have to break up with convenience. You have to get used to being stretched. You have to make peace with discomfort. Every person you admire, every leader, every trailblazer, every success story, they all had to step out of what was easy. They all had to let go of who they were to step into who they could be. And it hurt, but they did it anyway. Discomfort is the soil where miracles grow. But most folks never stay long enough to see the harvest. The moment it gets hard, they run back to what's familiar. But familiar ain't always faithful. Sometimes it's the very thing keeping you in chains. So don't confuse comfort with calling. Sometimes the most painful shift is the exact path to your promise. You gotta rewire your brain to love the stretch, to chase the fire, to crave the challenge, because when you start seeking out discomfort with the right mindset, you'll realize it's not your enemy, it's your training ground. It's your boot camp for greatness. It's your initiation into a level of life most people will never experience because they were too scared to be uncomfortable. The couch is comfortable, but you can't build empires from it. The routine is safe, but you can't rewrite history with it. The familiar is easy, but you can't become legendary by staying easy. You want the life you've never had, then do what you've never done. Wake up earlier. Take that risk, leave that relationship, start that business. Speak even when your voice shakes. Your potential lives on the other side of panic. Your greatness waits on the other side of your comfort zone. You'll never meet the real you until you leave the version of you that played it safe. You got a fire that's too big to stay in that small box. So stop adjusting your flame to keep the room from feeling too warm. Let it burn, let it blaze, let it consume the parts of you that were never meant to survive. There's going to come a day where you'll be forced to ask yourself, did I live fully, Or did I just stay comfortable? Did I chase my calling? Or did I cling to the convenient? Don't wait till the end of your life to find out the cost of your comfort zone. Wake up now, move now, shake things up now. Your future is waiting on the other side of the pain you keep avoiding. You're not stuck, you're just addicted to the weaker. Let's get something straight right now. You are not stuck. You are not trapped. You are not cursed. You are not helpless. What you are is comfortable with the weaker version of you. You've made a habit of playing small. You've built routines around your insecurities, and you've gotten addicted to your own excuses. That's why you feel stuck, not because you can't move, but because you won't. See, the weaker you knows how to keep you safe. It knows what makes you feel accepted. It knows how to keep you busy with distractions so you don't have to deal with real growth. But just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's good for you. That weak version of you is like junk food. Feels good in the moment, feeds your comfort, but it's killing your potential one bite at a time. You've been repeating the same patterns, praying for a different result, but repetition without elevation is just stagnation. You don't need more time, you need more truth, and the truth is you're not stuck. You've just gotten too comfortable living beneath your calling. That version of you that settles, avoids, delays, and denies. You've been feeding it for years, and now it thinks it's the real you. The weaker you is addicted to the same stories. I always mess things up. Nothing ever works out for me. I'll never be good enough. That's not truth. That's programming. You've heard those lies so often that you started treating them like identity. But that identity is fake. It was built in survival mode, and survival mode is not where you were meant to build your legacy. You've confused comfort with control. You think by staying where you are, you're avoiding failure. But really, you're just failing quietly. You think you're protecting yourself from pain. But really, you're just prolonging the agony of living a life that doesn't match your potential. You think playing small is safe, but the only thing it's saving is your ego. It's not saving your dreams. You've got greatness locked inside you, screaming to be released. But you keep answering the call with fear. You keep checking in with the weak you before making bold moves. And that version always votes for comfort, not courage. You've been asking a scared part of you for permission to grow. You'll never get a yes that way. The truth is, transformation is available right now. Not next year, not when the timing is perfect, not when you feel ready. You'll never feel ready, but being ready and being willing are two different things. The strong you is willing, willing to risk. Willing to be uncomfortable, willing to lose approval to gain purpose. But as long as you stay loyal to the weaker you, you'll keep calling it stuck. You've mistaken your rut for a reality. It's not real, it's just repeated. You've worn this same version of yourself like it's your skin, but it's not. It's a shell. It's armor built from trauma. It's a disguise built from doubt. And now it's time to shed it. That weaker you had a purpose once. It got you through. But it can't take you further. Its job is done. Stop letting a retired version of you run your life. Every time you say, I'm stuck, ask yourself, what am I still holding on to? What thought? What fear? What person? What habit? 9 times out of 10, it ain't life holding you back. It's you holding on to the you that's not built for the life you say you want. You're not stuck. You're just scared to divorce the weaker identity because you've been with it so long it feels like home. But not everything familiar is your friend. Some comfort is actually a curse. Some habits you've nurtured are robbing you. Every time you procrastinate, every time you self-sabotage, every time you dim your light, that's not because you're stuck. That's because the weaker you is still alive. You haven't killed it yet. You've been feeding it hope while starving your hustle, and don't let pride fool you. Pride will have you defending a life you don't even like. You'll post quotes about change while living in chains. You'll talk about elevation while still entertaining the same old cycles. You'll pray for growth but refuse to let go of the weaker self that's choking your future. Pride protects the weak version of you. Humility kills it. You've got to retrain your instincts. The weak you always chooses the easy way out. The strong you chooses the narrow path, the painful path, the purpose-driven path. You've got to stop asking yourself what feels good and start asking what makes you grow. The weak you wants convenience. The strong you wants results. And the two are never found in the same place. You're not stuck. You're sedated. Sedated by distraction, numbed by entertainment, addicted to scrolling, avoiding, procrastinating, pretending, but you can wake up. You can snap out of it. You can shake yourself free. You don't need a new job, a new partner, or a new location. You need a new mindset. You need a funeral for the weak you. The stronger you doesn't live in fantasy. It lives in faith. The stronger you doesn't hide from pain. It uses it as fuel. The stronger you doesn't wait for doors to open. It kicks them down or builds its own. But it only comes alive when you're finally willing to say, I'm done being stuck. I'm done being addicted to average. I'm done pretending I can't change. I'm done settling. You've got power buried under patterns. And that power is only accessible when you let go of who you've been pretending to be. Stop calling it stuck. Start calling it what it is. Fear, comfort, laziness, doubt, habit. And then break up with it. Because the future you've been dreaming of can't coexist with the weaker version of you, you've been addicted to discipline, is the weapon that kills weakness. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up when it's hard, pushing forward when it's dry, and locking in when everybody else is coasting. Discipline is what separates those who want it from those who are willing to pay the price for it. The weak version of you wants inspiration. The strong version lives by discipline. And the truth is, you can't kill weakness with hype. You kill it with habits. Weakness doesn't die in motivation. Weakness dies in commitment. It dies when you say, I'm doing this no matter how I feel. Because feelings will lie to you. They'll tell you to sleep in. They'll tell you to skip the workout. They'll tell you that your dream can wait. But discipline doesn't speak that language. Discipline says, get up anyway. Discipline says, move anyway. Discipline says, we're not asking permission today. We're making progress. The problem is, most people keep waiting to feel ready. They think discipline is something you're born with, but it's not. It's something you build, like muscle, like momentum. You build it by doing hard things over and over until they become normal. And once they're normal, you go harder. Discipline doesn't settle. It stretches, it sharpens, it suffocates weakness. The weak version of you wants comfort. It wants relief. It wants a day off. But the strong you understands something different. Discipline ain't a punishment, it's a path. It's not a cage, it's a key. It's the one thing that guarantees results, no matter who's watching, no matter what season you're in, no matter what storm you're walking through. You want to know how to get out of the hole you're in. Stop negotiating with your goals. Stop compromising your standards. Stop showing up strong on Monday and then disappearing by Thursday. The weak version of you starts and stops. The strong version of you locks in. Locks in until the job is done. Locks in until the change is real. Locks in until weakness has no air left to breathe. Discipline is boring. That's why it's powerful. Because everybody else is chasing fireworks. They want instant, they want easy, they want applause, but discipline don't need a crowd. It thrives in silence, it grows in shadows. It's forged in the dark when no one's clapping, no one's posting, and no one's praising. That's where real warriors are built. You ever see somebody with less talent pass you up? It ain't because they're better, it's because they're disciplined. They don't wait to feel like it. They don't wait to be in the mood. They've trained themselves to do what's required, not just what's convenient. That's the difference between winners and wishers. One lives in discipline, the other lives in drama. Discipline don't care how tired you are. It doesn't care how hard your past was. It doesn't care how unfair life's been. It says, what are we doing today to change it? Because pain doesn't go away with pity. Pain goes away with purpose, with structure, with showing up again and again until your life bends to your effort. You want to feel better? Get disciplined. You want clarity? Get disciplined. You want confidence? Get disciplined. Confidence isn't something you manifest. It's something you earn through repetition, through grit, through doing what needs to be done when everything in you wants to run. Discipline is the real flex. It's not the car, not the clothes, not the likes. It's waking up early when you don't have to. It's reading when everyone else is scrolling. It's grinding in silence while they party in circles. And when it's time to show up, you don't just show up, you dominate, because you trained for this, you built for this. You stayed ready for this. The weak you says, I'll do it tomorrow. The strong you says, if not now, when? The weak you hits snooze. The strong you hits goals. You can't serve both. One of them has to die for the other to live. And the weapon that gets the job done, that's discipline, that's consistency, that's waking up every day and choosing power over pity. You got to stop letting emotion run your life. Feelings are fragile. They'll talk you out of everything you were born to do. But discipline puts emotions in check. Discipline says you can cry, but you better keep moving. Discipline says you can hurt, but you better not quit. Discipline don't need permission. It just gets to work. Every single time you do the hard thing, you're swinging at that weak version of yourself. Every single time you show up when it's hard, you're putting another nail in the coffin of your excuses. And eventually, you won't even recognize that soft, lazy, scared version of yourself. You'll look back and say, I buried that person the day I chose discipline over drama. That strong version of you, it ain't a mystery. It ain't far away. It's already inside of you, waiting on the day you get tired of being soft. Tired of being triggered. Tired of being stuck in the same place, surrounded by the same distractions, repeating the same lies. Discipline ain't cute. It ain't glamorous, but it's what sets you free. It's what breaks cycles. It's what kills the weak version of you that's been running the show for too long. The strong you doesn't wait for permission, it takes the stage. There's a moment in every life when you've got to stop waiting for the green light and realize you are the light. Too many people are stuck in neutral, sitting in the back row of their own life, waiting for somebody to tap them on the shoulder and say, it's your turn. But life don't work like that. The strong version of you doesn't wait for approval, applause, or acceptance. It walks out, grabs the mic, and takes the stage like it belongs there. You've been taught to wait, taught to stay small, taught to be polite and let others go first. But how long are you going to keep waiting while your dreams collect dust? How long are you going to keep standing in the wings, watching people with half your talent take the opportunities that were meant for you? The strong you ain't timid. It ain't shy. It's bold. It knows that what's inside of you deserves to be seen, heard, and respected. The weaker you is addicted to validation. It won't move unless it's approved. It won't speak unless it's safe. But greatness doesn't live in safety. It lives in bold steps. It lives in risky moves. It lives in the decision to stop asking for a seat at the table and start building your own. The strong you doesn't need to be invited. It brings its own light to every room it enters. You've been conditioned to play small, told you're too much, told you should humble yourself. But let's be real. What they call humble is really hidden. They just don't want your shine to expose their shadows. But the strong you doesn't shrink to make weak people feel better. It stands tall even if it stands alone. It speaks up even when the room gets quiet. That's power. You're not going to find your calling waiting on permission. You're not going to find your confidence sitting quietly hoping someone notices your potential. That strong version of you takes initiative. It doesn't sit around waiting for life to roll out the red carpet. It steps out on the concrete, in the rain, under pressure, and performs like it's born for it. Because it is. The people you admire, the ones on the stage, the ones changing the world, the ones breaking generational curses, they didn't get handed that role. They took it. They showed up even when they weren't ready. They spoke even when their voice trembled. They moved even when fear tried to paralyze them. That's what the strong you is made of, not perfection. Just permission from within. The truth is, the world ain't going to crown you unless you crown yourself first. You've been waiting for someone to see your worth, but you haven't even owned it for yourself. The strong you doesn't need likes to feel valuable. It doesn't need a title to lead. It doesn't need a pat on the back to get started. It just moves with fire, moves with purpose, moves like it knows who it is. You got to stop asking for permission to be powerful. Nobody's going to give you clearance to step into what's already yours. The calling has already been assigned. The vision has already been revealed. You just keep waiting on the right time to show up. But there is no perfect time. The stage won't wait. The mic won't wait. And life sure won't wait. The strong you is not perfect, it's prepared. It's not loud. It's loud when necessary. It doesn't ask, what if they don't like me? It asks, what happens if I stay silent? And that's the question that changes everything. Because the weak you is always worried about how others feel. But the strong you, it's worried about what happens if you keep hiding your light. Stop talking yourself out of the moment. Stop letting your doubt write the script. Start rehearsing confidence. Start living like the opportunity is already yours. Because the moment you stop waiting, you start becoming. The moment you stop shrinking, you start shifting atmospheres. That's how the strong you takes over it shows up with no apology and makes everything adjust around it. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your growth. You don't need permission to evolve. You don't need a committee to approve your calling. Your presence is permission enough. Your scars are proof. Your journey is your license. You earn the right to stand up, speak out, and shine, even if nobody else claps. The strong you knows that silence is sometimes the loudest voice in the room. It's not arrogance to take up space. It's alignment. You were created to be seen, created to impact, created to influence. That power didn't get placed in you for you to bury it under fear and what-ifs. That power is meant to shake foundations, to shift rooms, to stir souls, but only if you stop waiting for someone else to validate what God already gave you. You've waited long enough. You've watched others walk in shoes that don't even fit them while yours sit collecting dust. Enough is enough. Take the stage. Walk in the room like you belong. Speak with authority. Move with conviction. The world doesn't need another version of silence. It needs the strong version of you to rise now. Not next year. Not next month. Now. The audience is ready. The lights are on. The platform is yours. But none of that matters until you give yourself permission to perform. Not to impress, but to express. Not to entertain, but to empower. Not to show off, but to show up. And if you ever stop waiting, if you ever decide to own the space you were built for, you won't just take the stage, you'll change it. Your future demands a funeral for the old you. There comes a point where you can't walk into your future holding hands with your past. You can't bring the old you into the new season. You can't carry dead weight and expect to fly. If you're serious about stepping into everything that was meant for you, you've got to bury the version of you that keeps sabotaging it. Not hide it, not tame it, bury it. Your future won't bless who you were. It's waiting on who you're becoming. That old you was built in survival. That old you knew how to endure, knew how to keep quiet. Knew how to stay small so you wouldn't shake the room. But now, you're not surviving anymore. You're shifting. You're evolving. You're stepping into levels that require a different mindset, a different standard, a different identity. And the only way to get there is to let the old you rest. You're not stuck because of where you are. You're stuck because of who you're still being. You've been carrying an expired version of yourself like it's still valid. Still reacting like the wounded version. Still thinking like the broke version. Still loving like the desperate version. But your future can't be built by the broken blueprint of your past. That foundation is cracked, and you know it. A funeral is final. That's what makes this hard. Because saying goodbye to the old you means no more falling back into those excuses. No more comfort zones. No more I'll try. It means cutting ties with the coping mechanisms. It means ending the relationship with your excuses. It means killing your loyalty to your own limitations. That version of you has had its time. Now it's time for a burial. You gotta get real about what needs to die. The laziness, bury it. The fear, bury it. The gossip, the comparison, the doubt, the procrastination. Put all of it in the casket. That attitude that keeps sabotaging your peace, lower it into the ground. Because every time you hold on to those old patterns, you're blocking the blessings tied to the stronger version of you. Your future is powerful, but it's picky. It won't allow access to the person you used to be. You can't be full of destiny and full of dysfunction at the same time. One has to go. The strong you is trying to rise, but the old you keeps dragging you back to the same cycles. You're not cursed. You're just cluttered. It's time to declutter your identity and clear the path. Funerals are emotional. There's grief in letting go. You'll cry. You'll hesitate. You'll even want to dig the old you back up because you miss the familiarity. But growth requires grief. Elevation requires release. Your next level isn't waiting on another motivational quote, it's waiting on a burial. Until you get serious about burying that weak version, you'll keep seeing the same results. This ain't symbolic. This is spiritual. This is war. You've been negotiating with your demons instead of defeating them. You've been reasoning with your excuses instead of replacing them. It's time to make a decision that this version of you, the insecure, the inconsistent, the fearful, the unfocused, it dies today, not next week, not when it's convenient. Now, you can't fake this shift. You can't pretend you're new while still living like the old. You can't speak power but act passive. You can't talk faith but live fragile. This is the season of becoming, but becoming can't happen if you're still babysitting who you used to be. Let it go, say your goodbyes. You can't be resurrected until something inside you is first laid to rest. The stronger you is already inside, but it's trapped under years of pretending. Trapped under habits that served a season but now sabotage your purpose. You've got to remove the mask. You've got to let that old identity collapse. It served its purpose. It taught you what you needed to know. Now it's in the way, and no one's going to bury it for you. This funeral is your responsibility. Stop making peace with patterns that are poisoning your potential. Stop giving CPR to parts of you that should be dead. Stop dragging your future through the mud of your past. This ain't about guilt. It's about guts. You either have the guts to let go or you don't. But don't say you want more if you're not willing to bury what's holding you back. Every new chapter demands a death. If you want to rise, something must fall. You've cried long enough about what didn't work. You've sat long enough in what's familiar. Now it's time to rise up, walk to the grave, and bury the version of yourself that no longer serves you. That week has robbed you of time, confidence, clarity, and you owe it nothing. Don't have a funeral and then dig up the body next week. This isn't seasonal change. This is permanent. Burn the bridge so you don't go back. Delete the contacts, cancel the patterns, break the cycles. This is transformation. And transformation isn't pretty. It's painful. But on the other side is everything you've been praying for. You just have to decide it matters more than your comfort. Nobody's coming to rescue the old you, because the rescue is already here. It's in the decision you make to bury it. And once that version is gone, that's when the new doors open. That's when the vision gets clearer. That's when the strength shows up. Because the weight of your past can't follow you into the places your future is prepared to take you. This is your moment, your identity shift, your rebirth. But births only happen after labor. And this labor requires pain, pressure, and permission from you, not from the world, not from your past, not from the crowd, from you. You are the one holding the shovel, and the future is whispering, bury the old you. There's a stronger, wiser, more focused version waiting on the other side of the grave. It's time to choose. You've heard it. Every part of you that wants to grow just got challenged. Every excuse just got exposed. And now you stand at a crossroads. One road leads you back to who you've always been, and the other leads you straight into who you were born to be. But make no mistake, you can't travel both. One of you has to die so the other can rise. This ain't about motivation anymore, it's about transformation. The weak version of you has had enough airtime. It's lied to you long enough, made you second, guess yourself long enough, robbed you of peace, of time, of destiny, long enough. This is the funeral. This is the moment, and you're the one holding the shovel. You've been playing small in rooms you were born to dominate, hiding your light to protect people who were never protecting you, lowering your standard just to feel accepted. But now, it's done. That weak you doesn't get another day. That soft, spoken people, pleasing fear, driven version of you has officially run out of time. You owe it to your future to go all in. No more halfway, no more part-time growth, no more lukewarm living. Either you become who God called you to be, or you stay trapped in the shadow of who you were. But understand this, the world ain't going to wait for you to decide. Opportunities are knocking right now, but they won't stand outside forever. You weren't created to beg for peace. You were built to command it. You weren't designed to keep chasing validation. You were wired to walk in vision. But none of that happens unless you rise. Not just talk rise, not pretend rise. Actually rise in your thoughts, in your standards, in your behavior, in your decisions, in your identity. The new you doesn't show up on accident. You have to summon it. You have to protect it. You have to fight for it. And that fight starts the moment you make a decision that the old you, the scared you, the weak you, the comfortable you, is done. Not later, not when it's convenient, now. So here it is, your permission, your reminder, your wake-up call. You don't need a second opinion. You don't need a better environment. You don't need everybody to believe in you. You just need to bury that version of yourself that's been holding the real you hostage. Kill that weak version of yourself, because the world is waiting for the warrior that's underneath it. No more delay. No more denial. This is the moment everything shifts. Bury the old you, walk into the new, and don't you ever look back.